Hi, I'm Zinnia, your Gemini friend. Have you ever had dreams about small animals in chaotic situations where you are the one with the sole responsibility of making sure that things don't fall apart completely? Because I sure have. My whole life, really. This has been one of the most significant, illustrative dreams of what's going on with me in my head. So I think it's a common thing. I think that lots of people have this sort of dream because it's a very good way of expressing like a lack of control or the idea that there are things that you need to manage that are unmanageable because they're animals. Animals, you can't train a hamster that well. it's very often hamsters for me. It's in my hands. Actually, one of my more recent ones was about a single hamster, which was a great step up from like a whole pet store that just all the cages stopped working. And there are tons of people, but it's on me. It's on me. If you know what I'm talking about, I had a great dream last night. It was wonderful because for the first time, it's like I solved that issue. And I will get through dreams where I'll have like repetitive issues and I'll figure out what the dream is trying to tell me, and then this doesn't happen that often where it's such a clear, obvious, like, you've healed that, but a few times it has happened. And I just had one of those last night because I had an animal dream that wasn't stressful. Not like every animal dream is stressful, but it was a stressful animal dream. And I could tell because what always happens is that there's always an animal in my hands that I can't manage. And with the prior hamster one from like a couple weeks ago, just having that one hamster and having it kind of struggle, but eventually we started to get along and I actually started to trust it. That's the thing. It's trust. I figured it out. It's trust, and it's trusting yourself. Because in this dream last night, I was holding a puppy, and the puppy actually came from a frog. And I've had lots of hybrid animal dreams too. That's something that I want to analyze a lot more. Like this one guinea pig iguana really stands out in my head, and it's funny because in my dream I actually knew exactly what it represented, this like niche interest of mine, which is very weird, and this thing came across as very weird, and I'm like, oh, I know what that is. But the point of this is that I cracked the code, at least for me. Let me know, do you have stressful animal dreams? And do you not trust yourself? Because that's something that I've always dealt with. Like it's just been so clear to me that I don't trust myself. I've like told people like nah, I don't. There are very specific situations where that's even relevant, but like I've had the thought, like, I don't know how to explain that. It's just a sense of trust. And what it is, I mean, it's your inner child. It's your inner child knowing that you are a trustworthy parent to it now. Because you're the one in control, you're the one doing the disciplining, so you're the parent. But like, what it was that I did is I guess I realized that I had been lying to my inner child by setting these lofty goals and acting like it was discipline. Like, that's just, it's wishful thinking is what it is. That's what I would do. And it could be in so many different areas. Like, I can't even think of good examples right now. I mean, what's a really, really, say, I'm gonna exercise or whatever. Like, you can't just be like, I'm gonna exercise and everything is changed. And yes, that sounds very obvious and simple, but I hadn't fully integrated it. And it's like this understanding, and of course I wept a bit when I realized like how much it had been hurting me throughout my entire life. This feeling of not being able to trust myself with discipline. But it actually, I learned something about discipline a few days ago, which I associate with Saturn as, you know, it's Saturn, it's restriction, it's limitations, it's discipline. But Saturn is a very good thing. It's like, as an entity, Saturn is incredibly helpful because the discipline is what makes sure that we are actually achieving what it is that we're setting out to do. So the thing that I learned about discipline is that it's just making conscious choices to not leak your energy into things that do not lead to whatever your goal is. Like, say you don't have to have just one goal, but the idea of all of the things that you want to do, think of energy going straight to that thing, and then consider the things that you want to do that siphon energy off of that. My hands aren't really helping visually. Like, imagine a tree with branches, but it's not a tree, just the concept of the branching out. Whenever the energy branches out off of this main central energy pole, it gets smaller, which means that that's less focus that you're putting on what you want to achieve. Because, you know, what's the saying? Where attention goes, energy flows, something like that. You get it. So there's that concept of discipline. There's the concept of your inner child trusting you. And then the other thing that I associate with this animal dream thing is the 6th house, which, you know, the 6th house is associated with pets and service and taking care of things. And I know that that's kind of weird. It was weird to me for a while why the 6th house is like, you know, your health and day-to-day routines and stuff like that, but also pets. But like, it's because, how do I put this succinctly? Essentially, the first 6 houses are like self-focused, while 7 through 12 is outside, other focused. So the final self-focused house, the first 6 houses are like your childhood progression in a way. I'll talk about that way later, not in this video, but once you've reached like these self-actualizing points, then you get to the 5th house where you're starting to actually express yourself and like who you are in the world, what you have to be proud of. Well, then the 6th house comes in after that to kind of like find the right method to perfect what you've been working on. So along with that is also when you are at that stage in your coming to be a fully aware person and you're focusing on the details and how to get things in a more structured way, you're a kid and you're taking care of your pets. That's one of the ways that you learn 6th house things, to put it as verbosely as possible. So that's why animals and, you know, Virgo, 6th house, stress, it's managing things. So all of these things, Saturn and Virgo and Mercury and stress in the 6th house tying together, it's like, this makes so much sense to me. These animal dreams, these out of control, chaotic animal dreams, So I'm telling you, if you are plagued by dreams of having such responsibility over the well-being of animals, check on your inner child and see if it trusts you. See if you trust yourself and see how you are on a discipline front. Not saying this to be preachy. This is something that I just learned, like, yesterday. And I had a wonderful night's sleep, and I just feel so much more at peace now. Like, it's amazing. It's great. Feeling like you can actually implement the things that will lead up to your goal. Because I've spent so much of my life just focusing on the goal, but not on how each step I take gets me there. It's like, I'm not looking at the path, I'm looking at the goal. But that's why I've been missing so many steps and falling back down. I hope this makes sense. Please tell me, especially, I'm super curious about specifics, because I have tons of specifics. I'm not gonna bore you with that here, but I've had so many dreams where animals are significant, and I can tie them to different things. It's really, it's fascinating. I love dreams. So I want to hear about your dreams, please. Okay, thank you for listening.